Well, I know you, Nuni. I don't know you. Do you have Sanskrit experience?
Very little. I just started learning this year.
Great, okay.
Yeah.
So, today we're going to look at the Sri Sri Radha Kripakatok Sutra. Stotra. Does anybody know what stotra means? Stotra is, how would you... Great. Sorry? Is that better?
Is sound coming?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes?
Yes.
It doesn't matter because you can hear me anyway, no? I can speak up if you like. Yes, so stotra. Stotra might mean a set of verses or a verse. And this Sri Radha Kripakatak Stotra, if you have been to Barsana, to the main Shriji Mandir, where the darshan is, on this side you see a yellow banner. And this whole Kripakatak Stotra is written there. It has not been assigned to any particular sampradaya, but all Vrindavan sampradayas respect and use this as a nityapat, regular recitation material. And I can't remember, I honestly cannot, I don't remember anything, but I can't remember how I first came across this. I think it was just from being in Vrindavan and listening. And slowly, it's become for me a regular recitation, probably for the last, probably 40 years. And it's something that is part of me and I love it.
Can I ask you then, what is the difference in between Kataksha and Stotra?
Oh, yes. Well, it's the Sri Sri Radha Kripa Kataksh Stotra. So this is a set of verses which, I'm not calling it a verse, I'm calling it an ode, O-D-E, because it's a song.
Yes.
And ode kind of gives that like a respectful, lovely, heartfelt recitation. Shri Shri Radha. So usually we say Shri Thakurji or Shri Radha. Nowadays people say, oh, Bhagavan or Thakurji or Radha. We should always say Shri in front. So here we're talking about Shri Shri. Because Shri Thakurji has Shri Radha, so she is Shri Shri Radha. For me she will be Shri 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 Radha. And the Kripa means blessing or grace, and Kataksh means the glance of her eyes.
Yes.
So usually when you see, sometimes there's a difference between different sampradayas of the alankar that the Thakurjis wear, the Sri Thakurjis. One looks straightforwards, like Sri Radha Shyam Sundar, perhaps, and one is like the moon on the third day or the moon on the second day in the sky. Sometimes in Vrindavan, in London we don't see the moon. You could wait for the moon, you'd wait all your life because too many clouds. But here, sometimes you're coming up the Parikrama Marg and the sky is dark blue or black and the second day moon is there. It looks just like Srinathji's eyes because he always looks down. Someone asked me once, why do you think that Srinathji's eyes look down? Have you any idea on that? Any bhava that you might have thought?
Is it to do with the moon?
Sorry?
Is it to do with the moon?
Well, I mean, he is always associated with the moon, and especially Sri Radha is associated with the moon because her face is like the moon.
Yes.
And sometimes if you look at the moon, and the moon, when the moon goes down, waxes, every day you see a little less. So I say Radha is putting on her gungat a little more. And when full moon comes, that's when you have darshan of Purana Mukha Chandra. It's to do with, in Gopi Geet, in Srimad Bhagavatam, Pranata Dehinam Papa Karshanam. So Pranata means bowing down, that is bowed down. Dehinam, whose bodies are bowed down. He is the gopis sing to Krishna, you are the remover of the sins of those whose bodies are bowed down. And by rights, and of course we always do, first of all, you don't stare at Sri Thakur. I mean, obviously you will stare at him, but the first thing you do is bow down. When you're down there, you look up. And that's when you have your kripa kataksh. So with Radha ji, Sri Radha, here the devotees are waiting just for this. That's it, just one tiny glance. If one glance of her eyes fall upon you, then blessings, kripa. But, okay, with most bhakti marg sampradayas, a devotee shouldn't really be asking for anything. Their behavior, their thought, their train of thought should be such as it will please Krishna's feet, please Sri Radha's feet. So, buddhi praraka krishnasya pada padmam prasidatu. May whatever I do be pleasing to the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. And our logo for the trust is Sri Swaminyas Charano Mudeva Vasatam Me Manase Sarvada. May Sri Radharani's feet be pleased to live in my heart always. So it's the feet that we need to please. That's another interesting thing about, the Indian caste system, the Brahmins, the Kshatriya, the Vaishya, and the things, Shudra. And nowadays, Shudra is considered to be lowly. But in Srimad Bhagavatam, the Shudras are from the Lord's feet. Brahmins from the head, Kshatriyas from the arms. Agriculture farmers, example, they're from the belly because they feed society. The warriors protect the society, the Brahmins teach the society, but their Shudras do everything else, without whom we couldn't function. Nobody could function. And they are the Lord's feet, and we bow to the feet. So really and truly. And I think, apart from the political take on it, which has been a bit disastrous, Gandhiji's take was that they are not lower. They are called Harijan. They are actually Krishna's own people. So it's a well-known and beloved verses of praise for Sri Swaminiji, Sri Vrajakishori Ju, not Ji. You always say Yaji, Maharaji, but in Braj the sweeter version is Ju, Pyari Ju, Maharaji. Actually, it's quite funny. I think it's in Sri Radha Shyam Sundarji Mandir. And somebody has written this on the boards, the name of the various swarupas there. And they've wanted to put this is Sri Shyam Sundar, Sri Radha Shyam Sundar and Ju. But they wrote it Jew. So there's, the Lord of Vrindavan is Jewish now, come on. Yes. So anyway, the point was that really and truly, if you believe 100% in your beloved, in whichever form he lives in your heart, she lives in your heart, then there's no need to ask for anything. Prayer is actually recommended not to be done in Pushti Marg, in Sri Vallabhacharya Sampradaya. Prartite va tatakhim syat swamya vipraya samshayat. Do you doubt your beloved's intentions for you? So why are you asking for something else? You don't know what's best for you, really. We don't know. Some, of course, sant sadhus know. But we should just accept whatever comes. Kripa ikalala najuki chahiye. We only need to have his grace, her grace. What else do we need? So, to pray is... But the last verses in all of the... last lines in all the verses is Kada karishyasi hamam kripa kataksha bhajanam. When will you make me a worthy vessel of receiving this grace-filled glance? So I'm just going to read from here to introduce that kind of concept. And I mentioned that, Goswami Anand Baba Shri from Bhavnagar, he's a Maharaj Shri in the Pushti Sampradaya. And he's written, for a devotee on the path of Sri Krishna Bhakti, the grace and understanding of Sri Radhaji is paramount to fully comprehend the form of Sri Krishna. So in all these sampradayas where Radhaji is given the foremost place, which is pretty much all, because really all the groups are Radha Shamsundar, Radha Damodar, Radha Gopal, Radha Govinda. But in Vrindavan particularly, more than really anywhere apart from Barsana, all the other kind of enclaves of devotion, Giriraji, Jatipura, wherever you go. But Sri Thakurji is given precedence. But in Vrindavan, Dishtatri, the founding mother of the whole concept of anything, she is Akhaladini Shakti. She is the one who gives Krishna the power to give bliss. He gets his bliss from her. And in all of the literature of Vrindavan, how many thousands of poems are written about he can't live without her. He feels he has no heart without her. He depends on her for his heart. So she is the Antaranga. There are two beautiful Sanskrit verses by Sri Hit Harivans. So please excuse my bad pronunciation. They're written by Sri Hit Harivams Goswami, who is the founder of Sri Radha Vallabh Sampradaya. Yajjapaha sakrideva gokulapatera karshakas tatshanat. Yatra prema vatam samasta purushartheshu suret tuchata. Yannamang krita mantra japana para pritya swayam madhava. Shri Krishnopi tad adbhutam svuratume radheti varna dvayam. Shri Krishna himself, the Lord of Gokul, is immediately attracted by even one single sounding of this, her name. And just as a lover pays no regard to anyone or anything else other than their beloved, similarly, with a single pronunciation of this name, all the four human pursuits, artha, dharma, karma, moksha, begin to appear totally trivial. Sri Krishna, the divine, all-attractive God of love, is lovingly engaged in the repetitious chanting of this mantra, laced with her name. May that name of 2 syllables pulsate within my heart. Yad Radha pada kinkari krita hridam samyag bhavet gocharam dhyayam neva kadapi yad hridi bina tasya kripa sparshataha yat premamrita sindhu sara rasadam papeka bhajamapi tad vrindavana dushpravesha mahimams charyam hridi svurjatu. Sri Vrindavan Dham is clearly visible to those who have cultivated in their heart the sentiment of pure and humble, divine servitude to Sri Radhaju's lotus feet. Without the touch of her grace, it can otherwise never even be contemplated. Sri Vrindavan grants the experience of the nectar of divine love and of the ocean of the essence of such divine loving sentiment to even the most sinful beings. May the wondrous greatness of that inaccessible Sri Vrindavan manifest and shine within my heart. They come from another wonderful book called the Sri Sri Radha Sudha Nidhi Stotra. So about the origin of these verses, nobody really can say to you definitively that they originated here or there. There are a couple of opinions. The origin of these verses is variously given as the Urdhamnaya Tantra or the Sammohana Tantra, as a conversation between Sri Shivji and Parvatiji. So Shivji explains and describes Sri Radhaji in these verses to Sri Parvatiji. And there's also an understanding of the origin of the Kripakatak Stotra that Lord Shiva, in the form of Gopishwara Maharaj, Mahadev, had a holy darshan of the Sakhis, the most confidential companions who share all Sri Radhaji's bhav, and also began to shed tears in the intense yearning to serve her in this same way. So Shivji, Sri Gopeshwarji, when he saw how intimately the Sakhis are serving Sri Radha, he cried with the wish to also serve her in this way and become Kripa Kataksha Bhajanam, become the vessel. It was at this time that these excellent verses emerged from his heart and blessed other devotees through their recitation. This is perhaps the most famous set of shloka in Vrindavan. The Kripa Katak Stotra is revered by all devotees of all sampradaya. All of these verses are displayed at Sri Radhaji's side in her temple in Barsana. The devotee wishes for nothing but to be worthy of receiving the best beloved's sidelong glances of grace, never asking for any specific reward, but humbly remaining at her lotus feet and grateful for that grace, be it even a single grain of dust. I mean, if we started looking at the number of two-line verses, the dohas in Vrindavan, about how Sri Thakurji goes round searching for her footprints in the dust, we could be here for a week just reading those. The devotee asks to become worthy of the glance, but recognizes even the granting of it as a matter of grace alone. It is the humble devotee's responsibility, while striving to be worthy of the dust of her feet, to keep their heart open and pure enough to receive this grace. The devotee must sustain that clarity of intention and purpose of service to naturally attract such grace. So we need to behave in such a way that we naturally attract. Then it is not a demand on Sri Pyariju, for she will act as she pleases and she knows fit. Like water always moves towards the ocean, the grace will move smoothly to that place where it is appreciated, where it is deserved and likely to be appreciated, and thereafter used to benefit all others with whom they come into contact along their way. So it's like an infectious disease. Now, how could we call it a disease? But if you break up the word disease, dis-ease. So when you have that desire, you're always in a state of dis-ease. I need to do more. I need to be better. Even the tiniest sidelong glance from her loving eyes is enough to heal and to purify. She is always compassionate and fair, although discerning. If a devotee also gets one tiny chance to glance at her or to perceive her glance, they are fulfilled. She is always full of joy, which makes her beloved joyful. And they shower this bliss on the humble devotees. The devotee, impatient to have such joy, waits for the grace, whilst even so knowing that it is grace even to be waiting. It is grace to be asking, internally craving for it, deeming oneself unfulfilled without it, for lack of grace leads to forgetfulness, and that is a sad situation. When attention wanders and finds other attractions. All the sadhus or renunciate devotees and devoted Matajis or ladies of Vrindavan know it by heart, and it's recited daily in most temples and nearby villages. Indeed, this prayer is regarded as the very heart of Vrindavan, Vrindavan Dham. When we opened the building, the new building, and I hope you'll come down, it was done with 24-hour recitation, continuous, of Sri Radha, Sri Radha Kripakatak Stotra. Obviously, there were wishes for very formal Vedic mantras. I said, no. In this booklet, so describing the book, which is coming out in January, we are offering both the Sanskrit and the Braj Bhasha versions. So in the booklet there will be Sanskrit to English, Sanskrit to Hindi, and Braj Bhasha to English. So now we're going to look at the text itself. What I'm going to do is I'm going to read the meaning